Hello YouTube, my name's Andrew, and welcome to my channel Card Circuit. I've been playing the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game competitively for over 8 years, and on this channel, I aim to provide informative content for Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel and the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG. I also stream on Twitch at least 3 times a week, playing live and talking to viewers. If you guys like this kind of content, really appreciate a subscription to the channel or a like on the video. It helps out a lot in the growth of this channel and to help these videos get seen by a wider audience. Today's video is going to be all about Sunavalon Plant Combo Deck. This deck is recently enabled by the new pack Valiant Wings. The strengths of this deck include being a 1-card starter, meaning you have a lot of room for hand traps and reactive cards, and also this deck's only going to get better with time. When the adventurer cards come out, you're going to be adding them. When the Hyperion cards come out, this deck's going to get even stronger. So without further ado, let's jump into the deck list. So here is the list that I think is the absolute best way to play Sunavalon in Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. This list plays Crossout Designator in order to counter the deck's weaknesses, typically countered in the TCG using the Adventurer engine to put up a negate, or the Hyperions to put up a negate. In Master Duel, we can use Crossout Designator to have similar results, allowing us to resolve our 1-card combo and then insulating our board with a wide variety of hand traps. So for this list, we are playing 3 copies of the Sunseed Genius Loki, the heart and soul of the deck. This is your 1-card combo. 1 copy of Loki gives you 4 bodies on the board, which you can then turn into a very nice end board. It's just overall very, very good. We then have 1 copy of Aromage Laurel. The main purpose of this card is it gains life, so it's going to trigger your link monster, the Aromaseraphie Jasmine. I'll get into that in a minute. 3 copies of Maxi, of course, and 1 copy of Aromage Jasmine. Jasmine is nice because it lets you get another normal summon of a plant. And in this combo, if you normal summon the Loki, you can summon this, so that way when you search for a card, like your Cactus Bouncer, which is your main floodgate of this deck, you get an additional normal summon and you can use it on this. It also has an effect to draw a card, which is pretty cool. Nice to draw. 2 copies of the new Sunseed Twin. This came in the new selection box, and you don't really like playing 2, you don't really like using this card, but because if you draw it, it kind of invalidates your combo. Playing 2 makes a lot of sense. If you draw one of them, at least your combo doesn't fizzle. It's kind of like the O-Lion of the deck, if you know what I mean. 1 copy of Lone Fire Blossom. I like having the Lone Fire just as an option to summon off of the Aromage. It's just a good draw. It's another starter, and I chose to play this instead of the 3rd copy of Painful Decision, because after resolving 1 Painful Decision, you can't use it a 2nd time, and it's nice to just have a different kind of starter, right? We then have 1 copy of Naturia Rose Whip, which is another floodgate. Your opponent can only activate 1 spell or trap each turn. So pretty funny, honestly. And you can summon this off of your Aromage cards. So you get it on the board and put up a couple other monsters, couple other interactions, and it just is an extra layer of disruption. Very relevant. We then have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 copy of Rose Girl. Rose Girl is a nice extender you use in your combo. If you don't play Rose Girl, you have to play that generator card, Mardell. As the builds develop, we get the Adventurer cards, as we get the Therion cards. This will no longer become required, but for now, you definitely need it. And very good extender. And then we got Cactus Bouncer. I love this card. It's so funny. You basically, the point of this combo is you search this card and you normal summon it, and neither player can special summon it. So you summon it at the end of your combo, and it just locks out both players. It's very hard to get over too, because using the Aromage, you can sometimes make this like protected from battle, so it can't be destroyed. Very, very funny. We then play 1 copy of Snowdrop, the Rika Fairy. This is an engine that I'm including in the deck. Snowdrop allows you to go into this Teardrop, which is a quick play tribute your opponent's monster. Very, very powerful, but not required. So if you're scrapping for ultra rares, you can definitely cut this Teardrop first and move on and play the deck to great avail. But I like it. It's a great option, a good backup plan. I then played 2 copies of Nibiru. This is something that I just wanted to illustrate, playing multiple copies of your crossout targets. You notice we have a wide variety of hand traps. Our crossout is very powerful. We're playing the cards that beat us to cross them out, right? Maxi, of course, Ash Blossom, and then Nibiru. If we draw Crossout plus the 1 Nibiru and then get Nibiru'd, well, that just doesn't feel good at all. So you want to have an extra 1 in your deck, so that way your Crossout is live. Same thing with Impermanence. We're playing 2. Instead of playing like 1 of each of a wide variety of hand traps, I'd rather play like a medium selection of only the cards that like really, really hurt and are played widely in the meta. So that way we have a better chance of resolving our Crossout. And then Harpy's Feather Duster, I always play this in Master Duel. 3 copies of Unexpected Die, probably the best card in your deck to draw turn 1. Being able to special summon your Sunseed from your deck is combo and a half. It's so good. Just an amazing one-card combo. Painful Decision is a little worse one-card combo, but still really good because it just searches the Sunseed. So it kind of does the whole thing. We then have 2 copies of Sunvine Sowing. Really good card. Honestly, it can summon the twin out of your deck. If you draw this, it's not so bad. It lets you play through Ash Blossom. If you like get ashed on your Dryas effect and you draw one of these, you can do full combo. So playing a second one to hard draw makes sense. It's just overall a pretty good card. One of the Sunvine Shrine. This isn't used in your main combo, but it's nice to have for later turns. Lets you recover from graveyard, and a good card that nets you advantage turn after turn. We then have 2 copies of Call by the Grave and 3 copies of Crossout Designator to make sure our combo goes through. This is kind of our adventure engine until we get those cards. Of course, I will post another video as soon as the adventure cards come out, as soon as we get the Therion cards as well, showing you the updates for this deck. But for now, this is the best way to play it, I firmly believe. We then have 3 copies of Droplets, just probably the best going second card in the game. So nice to have these in your deck, and technically it's good for Crossout too, if your opponent doesn't send a spell. 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence and the 1 Sunavalon Bloom. This is your in-archetype skill drain. Great, right? And if you get like Dark Ruler to Droplets, it can be a great backup plan, and you search it as part of your combo. Not every combo searches it, but you can search it with your Link monster, so it definitely comes up. For the extra, we are playing the Teardrop Rika Queen. This quick play tributes your opponent's monsters. Very powerful interaction. 3 copies of Dryas, which is the first card you're going to summon. You're going to summon all these. You just need to play max out on like a lot of these links, including Healer. Use 3 in your main combo line that I'm going to show you at the end of this video. There are some combos that only use 2. You're going to have to like start slow with this deck. It is a very complicated combo deck. And so just learn the main lines, and eventually you're going to be able to play through a wide variety of hand traps and make your combos more optimal. 1 copy of the Sunvine Thrasher. This is your damage card. It's a Link 1, but this guy can get huge. It gains attack equal to the Link monster of a Sunavalon on the field times 800. So you can get that thing up pretty high, and then it actually like steals your opponent's monsters, and there's a card in the extra you can use to give it multiple attacks. Just OTK combo, right? 3 copies of Aromatherapy Jasmine. You really just need 3. You use 3 for the main line I'm going to show you. There are some combos that use 2, but it requires you to play different main deck cards, some different main deck bricks. And I think the 3 Jasmine combo is the best combo that we have access to. Then 1 copy of the Sunavalon Dryatis. This card is kind of a backup plan. If you do get stopped and you don't have a stopper for the stop, then you can sometimes go into this, and it'll be very hard for your opponent to win on the spot. You also can use its effect when you take battle damage twice per turn, and just spam out more materials, so your next turn you're going to be in the money. A really, really good card, very deceptively powerful, and hard to remove. 1 copy of Sunavalon Malias. If I had a 16th extra deck spot, I'd play a 2nd copy of Malias because it's such good follow-up. You use it in your combo, it just turns a Link 3 into a Link 4, but it has an incredible effect going second too, letting your Sunvine Thrasher attack multiple times. It's part of most of your lethal setups. So going second, it helps you find game. Going first, it helps you combo. Then we have Dryentray, which is very hard to remove and adds a Sunavalon Speller Trap. Can't be targeted by attacks or destroyed, and it tributes a Link, and then it pops a bunch of cards. Just really good. But in my opinion, the best Link 4 in the deck is Behanglancer. Now, this guy's great. This is a bounce. You can just like remove your opponent's monsters. You do take some damage, but it's mostly irrelevant. Once per turn, you just bounce their monsters. So typically I like to set up like Behanglancer with like a Cactus Bouncer so they can't special, and when they do normal, you just bounce it. That's pretty funny lock, but this is the list, guys. It's the best list that I could come up with. Some cards I just wanted to talk about. There's this engine with Primula, the Rika Fairy. You play this as a level 4, and then you can use the Snowdrop to turn itself into level 4 and go into this Rika Queen Strenna. And if you have a way to tribute it, you can summon any plant XYZ monster between rank 5 and or higher. And there are some really great targets for this, but I'm not going to cover them in this video because I think it's a bit much. Also wanted to talk about Droll and Lockbird. I guess the same category, DD Crow, because these cards, you kind of lose to them. Like, they're really strong hand traps against you. So if you wanted to maybe cut out some of the more expensive hand traps if you don't have them and play some of these super rare options, I wouldn't fault you, and I think they're great options because they do hurt you nonetheless. And then, yeah, the second Malias is definitely considerable. If you don't play the Teardrop engine, or maybe you choose not to, or you don't have it, either way, you can simply replace it with another Malias and then cut this Snowdrop to add whatever you want, maybe a 2nd copy of Lonefire. But this is the deck list, guys. I'm going to show you a combo. I want to show you the 1-card combo main line, and I hope you've enjoyed. Let's jump into that combo video. All right, so I've opened a really good test hand here. We have multiple interactive cards and one starter. So we're going to use the Unexpected Die to summon the Sunseed. This is like the best combo when we're able to summon the Sunseed Loki directly from our deck. So then I'm going to go ahead and use that to make the Sunavalon Dryas in the extra monster zone. Start things off. You're always going to do this. Dryas is just a really powerful Link 1. It's just going to search for a Sun Vine card, which is, Sunvine Sowing is usually going to be your target. If you already have this, though, you can grab the Shrine. And then we'll use Sunvine Sowing. What's important is we don't summon any of the monsters here into the zone that the Dryas points to. That would kind of ruin the combo. So we're going to summon out Twin and take 1,000 damage, which triggers the Dryas. We'll go ahead and use both of our effects. And as you can see, just one seed is 4 monsters already. So it's just so powerful how you're able to just spiral out of control with this combo. So then Twin, we're going to summon this Loki here from the graveyard, and then Dryas is going to summon directly from the extra deck. We'll get our first copy of Sunvine Healer. Healer is going to use its effect, because why not? Gain a little bit of life, 300, and pretty irrelevant. But then what we'll do is go ahead and link these 2 Link monsters into the first Aromaseraphie Jasmine. Jasmine has to point to these. I mean, it doesn't have to, but it'll have to point to the Link monsters we're about to summon. So we're going to go into Dryas, using the Twin specifically. This is a very technical combo. You do have to kind of do everything right or else it fizzles. It's very unforgiving. And then we're going to go into the second copy of the Sunvine Healer using the Loki. Healer will heal again, and this time it triggers the Jasmine when we get this heal. Very nice. We have to have that Sunavalon monster on the field. That's why we summoned the second Dryas. And now the mandatory effect of Jasmine activates. We're going to add ourselves a Rose Girl. Rose Girl, a Premier Extender. It'll trigger when a plant monster is sent to graveyard. So we'll summon Melias here. That'll allow us to trigger. And we still got to keep that Sunavalon monster on the board. So we'll make sure to use the healer and summon out Melias here. This will trigger, and we get to summon a plant from graveyard and a Rose Girl from hand. So we're going to special summon the Rose Girl here from our hand, and we will bring back the Sunseed from the graveyard. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use Melias plus Rose Girl to go into another copy of Jasmine. We're just going to kind of do the same little combo here. What we're doing is we're putting multiple Aromaseraphies in the graveyard, which is going to be relevant in just a second. So we're going to summon the third copy of Healer to do kind of the same thing. And this time we're going to search for an Arrowmage Laurel, triggering the Healer yet again, targeting the Dryas yet again. And again, the mandatory effect will activate, and we're going to search for that Laurel. Okay, so far so good. So next we're actually just going to link away this Jasmine plus Dryas into another Jasmine. And now we have both Jasmines in the graveyard where we need them. This will allow us to use the Sunseed Twins effect. Sunseed Twin specifically does require you to have 2 links with the same name. So we can go ahead and use that now and banish the Healer from the field and the Twin in order to summon back one of these Jasmines. I'll put it right here. Now I can summon the Laurel from my hand using its effect to special summon into a zone that the Jasmine points to. I will then be able to tribute this, which will trigger its effect, and both of our Jasmines are going to activate. It's absolutely bonkers what we can do here. So we're going to go ahead and trigger this by tributing the Laurel. And you can summon a lot of things here. If you go for the Sundrop line, you can do that. But I actually, because we drew this Rose Whip, we can do something pretty funny. And I'll just go ahead and summon the Arrowmage Jasmine from my hand. From my deck. Jasmine will not only draw us a card from this, but it'll also give us an additional normal summon. So they're all mandatory effects. We're going to draw a card last because, you know, search twice and then draw gives us the opportunity to draw a non-engine card. So yeah, it's really awesome. Like, look at this. This absolutely crazy hand advantage. I'm going up to 7 cards in hand. So we'll be able to get an additional normal summon on top. And you can do a wide variety of things from this place, but we're going to go ahead and add ourselves a Cactus Bouncer, and then I get another search here. And this search is like relatively unimportant. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Snowdrop, right? So from here, you can kind of build your board accordingly, depending on what you have access to. You can go into like Behinglancer with your Jasmines and get like an additional interruption. I can summon the Rose Whip, the Cactus Bouncer. I can use Snowdrop effect. If I do have another plant that I want to change their level of, like I could change the Jasmine. That might be kind of good. So let me just take a look at the board here. Okay, let's go into this line. We'll be able to make the Behinglancer. We could go into Dryentray as well to get another back row, but I kind of like the Behinglancer line because we'll be able to use both of these as materials, leaving the Jasmine around, so that way we can change its level to 8. Okay, so Behinglancer will come into play, and this card's really great. It can actually just special summon from Graveyard, so we can use Snowdrop here to tribute it. I'll go ahead and do that now. We're going to tribute the Behinglancer and special summon the Snowdrop, special summon this Rose Whip. It's so funny. I'm probably going to have an additional normal summon that I'm not even going to use. So this is on the field. We can go ahead and summon that back. I'll use this, change the levels of all my monsters to 8. And then we'll go into our XYZ monster, Teardrop. Teardrop into play. Yeah, so if I did not have, like, I had like another guy in hand, I could have special summoned that instead. Normal summoned the Rose Whip, and I had the additional normal summon of the Jasmine, which could have been taken advantage of, but we don't even need it here. I'll just go ahead and use Behinglancer to banish whatever from Graveyard. It just has to equal up to 4, so I'll banish some of these Jasmines. They're not really needed anymore. And we get ourselves a Tribute. They can only use 1 spell. We bounce the first thing they summon, and no special summoning. So look at that. We have 4 cards left in hand. This is just one example of a combo. There are a wide range of combos you can do in this deck. It's very creative. You can extra link. Honestly, it's just whatever you can come up with. And I'll be really interested to see what you guys come up with. Let me know in the comments section. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this brief introduction to the Sunavalon Sunseed archetype. Very cool combo deck to play, completely off the beaten path. This is not something that people are really talking about. Again, if you like this video, I really appreciate a subscription to the channel or a like on the video. It helps out a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.